Hello, I'm Pete Smith. Some of you will know me from my previous Kickstarter, which was 2 years ago now, at which time I was looking for investment to start a bit of manufacturing, small batch runs and so on. That was very successful, and I gave a reward on that time of an amplifier that I designed for Jimi Hendrix in 1968 now, wasn't it? Yeah, long time ago. And that had been brought up to date, and I offered that around, and that worked fine. I'm back again because now, having got the manufacturing sorted, I want to teach other people how to do it, because there's a big hole in our manufacturing, I think, you know, at that level. So I'm back for investment again. Now you can read about the one-man factory, as I call it, at the end of this presentation if you want. In the meantime, I'm sure you're very interested in what the reward is this time. Well, it's a guitar amp again, a head, just like it was before, except that this is something that I invented in 1975, and I presented it to all my mates, and they said, yeah, that's it, that's great, that's the future of guitar amps. Trouble was, it cost too much to make. There were 9 tubes in it, and some of them were doubles, so it was ridiculously expensive. But things have changed. We've got op amps now, and they can control sound without processing it, which then, whatever tubes we use along with the op amps, it's a clean sound. So this is the route I've gone. Now, in those days I wasn't too pleased about tone controls. They didn't really work right. We had the FMV stack, and everybody used that. FMV stood for Fender Marshall Vox, because nobody was entirely sure who'd invented it in the first place, and they all were using it, so they called it FMV. Well, it was quirky, it did some funny things, you know, and it was noisy as well, and it lost a lot of signal, up to 20 dB gone down the tubes, you know. Well, not terribly good, but it was all we had. In 1952, Baxendale invented his special tone controls, and although they were invented for hi-fi, they were quickly co-opted into the guitar world and did us quite well. They still lost a little bit of signal, and there were a little bit of distortion perhaps, but not too bad an answer. But I wanted something better than that, and in 1975 I dreamed up tone tunnels. Now we've got normally on an amp 3 tone ranges, bass, middle and treble. I've added 2 to that, low bass and high treble. So you can run a bass guitar at the bottom end maybe, and maybe an electric mandolin at the top end. Whatever, this is 5 now, 5 channels instead of 3. And they work quite differently to any tone control you've ever come across in your life. They also sound a lot better. They're perfect for sculpting. It's very hard to describe really, because the figures that apply to normal tone controls don't really work for this. For instance, the Baxendale gave us plus and minus 15 dB on the treble and bass. Well, mine does plus 40 to minus 60. Ridiculous range. And there are no actual tone controls on the amp. They're all volume controls, 7 of them. The first one is the input volume control for your guitar, front end. Then there's the master control at the other end, and in the middle are the 5 controls for the tone tunnels. But they're not tone controls, they're volume controls. So this means if they're down at nothing when you switch on, you don't get any sound at all. It takes a bit of getting used to, but believe me, the results are well worth it. It's never been done before this, and so I'm delighted to be able to present it to you. In fact, I've spent a year developing it, and I've made a lot of prototypes in that time. You know, as the functionality increased in the design, they got bigger and bigger and bigger until they finally reached a final size which was quite impressive. I'll show you a prototype. This is a rough prototype. I said rough, it's a typical working prototype. You can see there are a couple of windows there for the valves to be seen through. I think that's about in the middle now, and it's about the right size for a 4x12. But I've got quite a few people saying to me, that's not what I want. I want something smaller and tidier that I can use at home. I don't want to use it on a big CAD, so I came up with another version of this, which is exactly the same circuit and design, but it's a smaller box, as you can see there. Look, a little bit tidier, isn't it? Again, a rough prototype, but production is ready to go, and so here I am today. Now this is Fusion2A, and this is Fusion2, the bottom one, and so I'll be telling you how it works a bit later on, but that will be a separate section. So I'll leave it there. You can read all about it in the next few sections. Thanks for watching.